guys, we're going to do a quick about 10-minute or so mobility series today that's going to basically work on our whole body. All right. Now we're going to need two things. One of these is called an AccuMobility trigger point spot thing, but if you have a cross ball or something like that, you can use that instead. What I like about this is because it has a flat base. When you push against it, it doesn't roll around, whereas a lacrosse ball will move around a little bit. So if you do have a lacrosse ball, maybe put it on top of a towel to do pretty much the same thing. But still, this is really good. There's two versions. There's a blue one and an orange one. I prefer the blue one. It's a little thicker. The orange one, for me, is a little too squishy. Okay. The other thing we're going to need is a foam roller. So my preference is this Rumble Roll or Gator Roller because these little indentations are quite good at like breaking apart some of the stuck tissue. Whereas if we use just a pure flat roller, sometimes you don't really get that same kind of grip. But anyway, we use what we have, okay? So we're gonna start off with this, and we're gonna do some hip foam rolling, all right? Now, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna be laying down, we're gonna start here, and we're gonna end up just below the knee, or just above the knee, I should say. So, get into a comfortable position here, and you're gonna rock back and forth, right, 3 times, then keeping your toe pointed down, right, just notice my ankle here, all right, we're gonna lift our foot up, come back down, we do it 3 more times, all right, now that 3rd time, you're gonna come down a little bit longer, or a little bit more, do that, then we do 3 times, and then a little longer, come up 3 times. And now the reason why we're coming up is because this is going to actually stretch that quad, all right, which is then going to allow it to just get a little deeper into some of those stuck, nasty areas. All right. So we just continue on until we get to just above the knee. Now along that way, you might have found a spot. For me, it's right there. Doesn't feel very nice today. So we're gonna hang out there just for a little bit. And when you're hanging out in this position, you need to remember to breathe. Then change sides. Okay, so again, in that position there, rock 3 times, up, down, 3 more times. On that 3rd one, go a little further. All right. Now you're also probably going to notice there's a point where you're not going to really feel anything, okay? And that's just because the muscle there is in pretty good shape, or it means that you're not putting enough pressure into it. But most likely, good shape muscle, all right? Especially if you have some spots that are super tender, and other spots it feels like you could hit them with a baseball bat, it's still not going to feel anything. Alright, now if you do that side, same thing. If you have an area that's a little sticky, hang out there. Alright. Okay, then what we're going to do, you're just going to come like this, sitting on your heels. We're going to do 5 breaths in. Now, the reason why we do the breathing, it's not for any sort of like Zen connection or anything like that. It's purely because as you breathe, it actually helps your nervous system calm down. All right, so we take nice deep breaths. And because it's allowing their nervous system to calm down, The nerves, they're what keeping our muscles tight. So by letting them calm down, paired with the stretch, it's going to allow us to open up the muscle a little deeper than we would, say if I'm going like, okay? So you wanna stay calm. Okay, then we're gonna come up onto our toes, sit down. Same thing. Okay, now we're going to do a modified hip and calf stretch. So we're going to put our foot like this. Now I'm going to use my shoulder to really push my knee well over my toes here and keeping my heel on the ground. All right. When I'm in this position, the idea is we want to feel it along the calf. Okay, and you can really push hard, right, by stretching the back leg out, which is then going to also give us the benefit of stretching the hip on this side. So push the hip back on our left side, push our right shoulder into our knee. A lot of the times when I do stretching after workouts, I like to be as efficient as possible. I don't want to spend, even 10, 15 minutes stretching. I just want to spend 5 minutes or so afterwards, cooling down. So by combining stretches like this, just helps save some time. Okay, then other side, I'll go other direction so you can see. So foot on the ground, left shoulder into my left knee, pushing it far open, or far over my toe. My right leg, I'm going to drag back, so that way I'm getting this hip on this side, calf on this side. Now, as you're going through and doing this, if you come to a point where you notice the muscle relaxes, I want you to go ahead and try to stretch a little bit deeper, but we're going to keep it within that 5 breath range, right? The reason for that is because a lot of the times, especially if you go to some of this yin yang yoga, they spend way too much time in these positions. Most of us, our joints are not ready for that type of intensity, okay, or that duration. Right. Now what we're going to do is what's called a half straddle or side straddle. So I'm going to have one leg open, one foot in here. I want that toe to be behind my knee. Okay, so that way it's up quite far. This is now going to work my adductors on this side. All right, again, multi-purpose, whereas if I have it here, not really working this part. Right, so up tight, toe pointed up towards the sky, grab the leg. All right. Now my hand is going to be on my knee to keep that knee from rising up as I come forward. Okay, then to get some more upper body, we're going to try to reach with the other hand on top. Okay, now when we do this, I want you to think about opening up this way. So that way my chest is here and we're on top. Okay, then other side. So again, foot above the knee, hand down, grab. Of course, if you can't grab your foot, you grab whatever you can. Whether it's your shin, your knee, whatever. Right? We just want to make sure that toe's pointed up, because as you roll your toe away from you, it actually opens your hip more, which is going to allow you to stretch more. But just because you're getting more range of motion doesn't mean you're getting the same benefit from this. Okay, then other hand up, try to grab on top. Now, I'm not the most flexible person in the world, if that's not obvious yet, but still need to do it. A lot of the times we'll complain about stretching, saying we can't do it because it's hard, but everybody likes the PR. That's pretty hard too, right? Okay, so foam roller now. Come to the upper body. So we're gonna put it right in the middle of the back. Arch, come back forward. Arms up. Okay, then we go down a little bit. You can roll if you want to, but for space, I just moved it. And then one without the arms. Okay, then top of the shoulders. Out the arms. And then we're going to right at that top part of the shoulder, kind of like where a bar would be if I'm doing a back squat. Okay, then we're just going to do a few rolls here. All right. Okay. Last thing, right? So we have this ball. Now, you can go through a range of points on this ball. Whenever we use this, we don't want to spend a lot of time doing stuff that we don't need to do it on, all right? So what I'm going to show you first is on the hip. So we're going to place this right here on the hip, sideline position, okay? Now, back leg's up like this. I'm going to lift that leg up, drive it forward. Whew. All right, next option, gonna put it right here, kind of like on my lat, all right? Arm up. Okay, now from here you can play with all sorts of angles with the hand. You can even go internal rotation. Okay, others on the shoulder. So up here, down, you can go down like this, and around, right? Like kind of like a snowman action. Right? Doesn't really matter as long as we're moving. Now the last option is right on the calf. So you're gonna go like this here, right? Put your other leg on top of there to get a little more weight. Lift your butt up. Rock side to side. You know, of course, there's a lot more options with this, but I'm trying to keep this relatively short exercise for you. All right, so then you can do that on the other side too. Now, of course, I probably spent more than 10 minutes talking about all this, but if you exclude me babbling my mouth, this would take about 10 minutes or so to do. I would do this 2 to 3 times a week, all right? As well as maybe a condensed version along with every workout.